David Nick Valley won. I think we won 4-1. I called Davey Leonard, who I had room with in A-ball. And this is before cell phone, so I actually had to pay for this phone call, and I got him at the hotel. I said, what's the ballpark like? He goes, it's a long way from the dugout to the mound. So in other words, more foul territory than any ballpark in the history of baseball, I think, and at least in modern history. And then this morning about 6:30, I get a text from Boo Powell. He goes, just remember, you're probably doing something, maybe with Melanie. Tell him I hit the first home run here. So we just left Seattle. Boog hit an inside the park home run off Steve Barber, who was the first 20-game winner back in '69. And then we've already been in Anaheim. He hit the first home run when they moved from Dodger Stadium when the Big A was built. So this is a game of first for Boog. Now, of course, he did win an MVP and ended up in, I think, 337 home runs. So he had home runs everywhere. But this is a great place to pitch. And the memories are, we played him in the playoffs in '71. 73, 74, they won World Series in 72, 73, 74, 3 consecutive. They had some of the best players in the world. They had great lineups. Brett Hollander was saying, well, which was the best lineup? I said, you mean when Billy North stole 56 bases and Campanella stole 62, or when Reggie hit 39 home runs, or Bando hit 33, and Joe Rudy? I mean, you go down the list. They had really good ball clubs. Very much like some of the Orioles teams I played on. They had 3 20-game winners one year, never 4 like we did in '71. But again, I mean, this is one of the great franchises, and this was a great rivalry. You go back to 1971. I lost 2-1. I had a 1-0 lead in the 8th inning, and they scored 2 runs. Vita Blue came to Baltimore. The next time we had a walk-up of 25,000 people, and we got rained out. So the dynamic of one of the best teams in baseball, against another one of the best teams in baseball, the Orioles in the 70s, was something special. And then you go back to 1989. I did the first 2 games of the Earthquake World Series right here in Oakland. We went over, and for Game 3 at 5:04, we had the earthquake, and something I'd never experienced before.
When you look at this, I mean, you've got your buddy Eckersley's number is out there near Mount Davis, and you just mentioned what it was like to be here, even as a broadcaster. What are some of those feelings that come back to you personally to be here and to know that this is the closing of a chapter?
Well, it just was a little different. My first game ever, I roomed with Robin Roberts, who was 38, I was 19, came in snow flurries in Boston at Fenway Park. So it had a lot of history. This club, this ballpark was built in 1968. I think it opened in '66 when the Raiders were here, who again were one of the storied franchises. I mean, you talked about Davis Mountain. That's what after Al Davis, because they left, came back, and they built additional seats. But again, you come here, and I always thought, baseball was about memories. And Roger Kahn and the Boys of Summer said, a lot of times they say, baseball writers, baseball players, even fans, they live in the past because they're always dredging up. That's kind of what baseball is. So when I come back here, I know it's going to be the last year they're here. We're going to go to Sacramento, where I did all the Money Store ads. I know that city pretty well. It's a great little city, but it's not a major league city in the sense that, the fans here have, been privileged to have one of the great franchises. And, we're walking through the halls, and I said, God, it reminds me, I just watched Moneyball, a couple of weeks ago. And of course, the A's were the ones that realized, you strike out better than hitting double plays, walk a lot, high on base percentage. How can we compete with the big market teams? So, just a lot of things that have happened here, and it's great to have been part of it. And then when you start looking at these guys, Catfish, one of the great pitchers, and Dave Stewart won 20 games 4 times. Raleigh Fingers are having a bobblehead on Sunday, and then you go over here, you got Eck, who I had pitched, one of my dear friends, who had 390 saves and 190 wins. And then you go to Reggie, who told me I used to pitch like the strike zone was a little rectangle up and away. But if you go right to that Fanatic sign, in 1971 I threw 171 pitches and ended up throwing 3 solo home runs. Reggie hit 2 to the opposite field, and then Bando pulled one, and we ended up winning 5-3, and then got a chance to play the Pirates in the World Series. So, again, this was the kind of the gold standard when, if you wanted to get to the playoffs, they beat us in '73, they beat us in '74, and they were a great series. They just, they had one of the teams. Anytime you win back-to-back World Series like the A's do, special franchise.
Okay, so apart from the 70s, we'll fast forward, because 1991, it wasn't a playoff game, but it was a combined effort for the Orioles to pick up another big win here. The no-hitter. What was that like, though? Just to see, because, again, I think it's really special that these are cross-country teams that still held really the attention of everybody when they played.
Well, they were. It's a 4-man no-hitter, and I was doing the game that day, and I actually was out here earlier. I'd done the Monday night game here, and I saw Jose Canseco. And then when you get to the locker rooms, you have to kind of go around the backstop. So I see him that Saturday, and I said, "Hey, Jose," and he just completely ignores me. So I was talking to one of the writers, and he said, "Well, it wasn't about him." So now I go downstairs after the no-hitter because I was the last guy that had pitched a no-hitter, by myself in 1969, and it was a great, Greg Olson came in and strike out, I think, Canseco and McGuire and maybe Dave Henderson, and Jose's wearing sunglasses. So I'm down congratulating, and now Jose comes walking out probably to go to his car, and he sees me, and the writers have come around because I was the last guy to pitch a no-hitter, and he goes, "What are you talking to him for? He didn't do anything today." And I tried to be non-confrontational, and I said, "Jose, matter of fact, neither did you." And the writers went crazy. So a lot of memories, but it was a great game. And Bob Milacki started it. I think Mark Williams was in there, Flanny was in there, and then Greg Olson, who had been Rookie of the Year, was one of the great curveballs and terrific pitcher in his own right. So again, this is you come to Oakland, you got to play well because they usually play well, and that's the only way you can beat them.